Could a man living in the 7th century predict the rise of cities that would challenge the architectural giants of the world? Stay tuned to find out how these prophecies have come to pass with stunning accuracy. Prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH. The prophecy of the Arab Bedouins. From poverty to sky-high towers. Imagine a group of people who spent centuries in the desert, living in poverty, raising camels, and wandering the barren dunes. Now, picture those same people not just thriving, but competing with the world's greatest powers in building the tallest, most impressive structures. This is the astonishing transformation of the Bedouin Arabs, a transformation that was foretold by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, over a millennium ago. Could a man living in the 7th century predict the rise of cities that would challenge the architectural giants of the world? Stay tuned to find out how these prophecies have come to pass with stunning accuracy. He said, "You will see the barefooted, naked, destitute herdsmen competing in building tall buildings." Today, cities like Dubai and Riyadh stand as glowing testaments to this prophecy. How could a people who once wore rags and lived in tents now be competing to build the world's tallest skyscrapers? It wasn't magic, it was oil. The deserts that had once seemed empty were rich with one of the world's most valuable resources. In just one generation, the Bedouins went from riding camels to driving luxury cars, from living in tents to ruling cities of glass and steel. But the prophecy doesn't stop there. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, also said, "The hour will not come until mountains are moved from their places." Look at Mecca, the birthplace of Islam. Towering buildings now stand where ancient mountains once stood, removed by the power of modern technology, just as the prophet predicted. What if the rise of global epidemics like AIDS was already foretold centuries ago? Learn how ancient prophecies shine a light on today's moral challenges and the diseases that followed. The spread of immorality and the rise of new diseases. In a world bombarded by images of explicit content and widespread promiscuity, it might seem like our current society is far removed from the past. But once again, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, foresaw this alarming shift over 1,400 years ago. He warned, "The hour will not come until immorality spreads, even practiced openly." Now think about today, where explicit content floods our screens and news stories emerge of people being arrested for public indecency. It's not just confined to dark corners of society anymore. It's on billboards, in movies, and available with a click. But the warning didn't end there. The prophet also foretold the consequences. When immorality spreads, diseases will appear that were unknown to previous generations. Fast forward to modern times. AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases have devastated communities. These diseases, unknown to past civilizations, are stark reminders of the consequences of moral decay, just as the prophet warned. Could the economic chaos we see today have been foretold by a man who lived 1,400 years ago? Discover how one prophecy paints a startling picture of our current financial world. The rise of usury, a global economic struggle. Imagine a world where avoiding financial corruption is almost impossible. Whether you like it or not, you're caught in a system built on interest and debt. Once again, the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, predicted this reality, saying, "A time will come when even those who avoid usury will feel its dust." Does this sound familiar? Today, whether through loans, credit cards, or mortgages, almost every corner of modern life is touched by usury. Even if you don't deal with interest directly, the entire global economy is based on it, and you're affected by rising costs, inflation, and financial instability. From central banks controlling interest rates to entire nations drowning in debt. This prophecy rings truer than ever. The financial crisis of 2008, caused by reckless lending and interest-driven economies, was a wake-up call for the world, showing us the far-reaching consequences of usury. How did a group of nomads defeat the world's mightiest empires in just a few decades? Find out the secret behind one of the most astonishing prophecies ever fulfilled, the unlikely conquest of world powers. At the time of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, the Muslim community was small, outnumbered, and surrounded by powerful enemies. Yet, in the face of certain defeat, the prophet made a bold declaration. God is great. I have been given the keys to the Levant, to Persia, and to Yemen. Imagine hearing this while you're being besieged by armies far larger and more powerful than your own. The Roman and Persian empires were two of the greatest powers the world had ever seen, yet within a few short years, the Muslims had conquered them both. Historians still marvel at how a small group of Muslims, with few resources and little military power, could bring down such great empires in such a short time. This prophecy, against all odds, came true in spectacular fashion. How could someone predict the spread of literacy and the written word in a society where almost no one could read? Join us as we unravel this remarkable prophecy. The spread of writing, a revolution in literacy. In a time when only a handful of people could read and write, the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, made a simple yet profound prediction. Before the hour, the pen will appear. Writing and literacy, he said, would spread among humanity. Today, we live in a world where the written word is everywhere, from books to newspapers, from social media posts to digital blogs. Writing has become a daily part of our lives. The rise of literacy rates, the invention of the printing press, and the digital age of communication have made the written word more accessible than ever before. The Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, who lived in an illiterate society, could never have imagined the explosion of knowledge that we take for granted today. Yet his words echo through time, speaking of a world where writing would flourish long before it became a reality. Each prophecy is a reflection of divine insight, revealing truths that were unimaginable in the prophet's time but are now undeniable in our world today. Could this be mere coincidence, or is there something more to these predictions? Let's explore.